and I am going to mute everyone, so don't mind me. And yeah, all right, awesome. Well, we have, as always, an action-packed morning. Happy daylight savings to everyone. It's really, yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving means when between the time I finish work and dinner and trying to help with the kids, I can sort of get out and do a few things in the lawn and garden, and I'm not having to sort of wear a headlamp to see what I'm doing. So it's been awesome. And I haven't been getting woken by the sun at the crack of dawn. So anyway, it means summer's coming, which is a good thing, I think. Hey, what we're going to do, going to say hi to a couple of people first up this morning. Then we've got a couple of people that are actually going to share an input to us. But first person I want to say hi to is a longtime friend. I see him there sitting in what I think might be his garage, and that's Yechan Kim. Yech, do you want to jump off mute and say hello so everyone can see you?
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, mate. How you doing?
Good. Since everyone in the house is working from home, I've been relegated down to the garage.
Mate, nothing wrong with the basement. Looking good there. I'm in desperate need of a haircut. Last time I saw you, a lot longer. You've been giving yourself COVID haircuts, it looks like.
I've decided to take matters into my own hands, and just couldn't wait any longer.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Yech, you've been an awesome part of these mornings, and thank you for I guess we've just been part of it. You're also a long-time friend, and someone that you and Gemma absolutely love you guys. And yeah, it's anyway. Now you have basically. Well, actually, I was going to start telling a little bit. Tell us what you have done. You've obviously had some changes recently. Tell us a little bit about what you're, I guess, moving into.
Yeah, sure. So as you've said, Dan, we've known each other for over 10 years now, which seems a bit crazy, but back in 2010, when I was a young man, I decided to pack up my things and move to Australia and join Hillsong College. And you were one of my first Connect group leaders back then, and 10 years later, here we are. So yeah, to give you a brief overview of the journey, I guess after I finished college, I sort of had a year of not really knowing where to go, what to do, and sort of by happenstance, I stumbled into the automotive industry, and that's where I've sort of built up my career over the years. So I started in sales, and I worked through management, and sort of worked my way up the ladder, I guess you could say, and worked with a few different various brands, and really sort of beginning last year, I had a sort of a calling in my heart to start looking elsewhere and moving on to something a bit different. And my whole life, people have told me that I should be running a business, and I kept denying it and sort of ignoring the calling. And especially after we had our first daughter, it sort of changed my perspective on many things. And so basically, recently I've started a business. It's a finance broking business. And at the same time, I've changed my day job as well. So sort of jumping into two new full-time roles at the same time, and trying to get it going at the moment.
That's awesome, man. So it's pretty exciting, I think. Pretty exciting to see you take that plunge. And from what I understand, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you were working at Audi there in Bennett Hills, and I think you've just moved to a different dealership that's going to give you a whole heap more time to focus on trying to build the business.
Yeah, that's it. And it's quite different. The finance world is quite different to what I'm used to. Car salespeople are known as the cowboys of the sales world, and finance seems to be quite the opposite. So a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross, but slowly learning everything and trying to get it all happening.
Very good, mate. Well, congratulations. Look, if anyone's needing financing, what are you providing financing for specifically?
So specifically, we're starting with mortgages. So anybody that needs obviously buying a new house or refinancing their mortgage, and then we'll be branching out into asset finance as well in the future.
So cool. Well done, mate. Well, huge congratulations on that, and good on you for taking the plunge, and look forward to seeing this all unfold. Let us know if there's anything we can do to be giving you a hand or helping you along. Definitely excited for you, Yech.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for jumping on and saying hi. And next person I'm going to say hi to, I think I saw him getting ready to unmute there, is my friend Raj, who I've also known for a long time, actually. Hey, Raj, how are you?
Very good, sir. Very good.
Good to see you. Now, let's get straight to the crunch. The important things, mate. You are relatively newly married.
Yes, I think I just had my 4-month anniversary. 5-month. Oh, there we go. 5-month anniversary. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a wild ride, all in lockdown.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. So, wow, that is that's baptism by fire. I think it's an adjustment getting used to living with someone and coming together, but to be with them 24/7. Yeah, well done. That's huge.
Yeah, I think it was a blessing because we had the wedding in between lockdowns. So I think it was a couple of weeks either side, we wouldn't have been able to have it. So yeah, very grateful for that.
Good, mate. Yeah, well, that's right. You sort of shot that window, which, yeah, well done. And your beautiful wife, Ari, is someone else I've known for quite a while. And yeah, Ari's a fantastic girl. So very happy you guys are married. Now, yeah, possibly tell us a little bit about, like, you've got quite a cool story. You've also been part of Business Connect groups for a long time. Do you want to maybe just give us a bit of that context on who you are, how you fit in, what you do, how you sort of got to where you are now?
Yeah, okay, that's a lot. I definitely can share that. For everyone, my name's Raj. I've been a part of the city campus, Waterloo, and now Alexandria for the last 31 years. So grew up in the kids ministry. It wasn't by choice. My parents brought me. So, I guess growing up, actually, I don't know if you know this, Dan, but first 5 years of my life, I was in 5 different countries. So my parents were like internally displaced refugees in Sri Lanka. So when we came to Dank Street, we found home, which is like, what we like our mantra, like welcome home. So yeah, my parents have invested in this house ever since, and they were part of the Kingdom Builders from the start. So they've been an amazing example for me. And so like why I love Business Connect, for me, it's all about building businesses to finance the kingdom. And my parents have always modeled that for me. So if you look at my story, I think I just quick snapshot of it. It's like that 15-year overnight success. The first 14 years were hard yakka. So let's just say God was really patient with me. I was able to hit, but recently, as you mentioned, I've been able to hit some 10-year goals, which has been amazing. So now I can, instead of spinning lots of plates now, I can choose what I want to work on. But yeah, my starting point was definitely not like one of those kids that start a business in school and everything just blows up and goes well. For me, I did start a business in high school. It was recording and editing the year 10 formal. And I was a part of the Hillsong TV team as a kid. So I was like one of those kids that were all black. And it started out well. I actually got 50 pre-orders. But then after coming back after at school holidays and spending hundreds of hours editing, no one wanted them anymore. I'd lost the market. So yeah, I still remember leaving school and having a box of VHS tapes, propping up a table in the year 12 room. So it wasn't off to a great start in business, let's just say that. And I think I still owe a loan to my parents for those VHS tapes. So I went on to study architecture at uni. But then I think at uni, I was more interested in building websites, volunteering at youth, in Powerhouse, which is our young adults ministry. But once I got the paper, I started playing with a website called MySpace. So I don't know for those that remember that back in the day. And I volunteered youth, did the youth website, and then got brought in to bring the Hillsong United website. So the Hillsong United website, Hillsong United MySpace, and then a business started blew up from there. And all of a sudden I was talking to like record labels in America. I was working from my bedroom with Skype video calls 15 years before working from home was a thing. And I still hate it. I do not like it. But yeah, MSN chat, yeah, definitely. And so once MySpace died and Facebook came in, we pivoted the business I'll pivot as a word, to a full digital agency. So we're into branding. So this is like 2010. Logos, websites, full spectrum of services, basically whatever they wanted, we'd figure out a way to do or find a contractor. But went into this famine and feast sort of cycle. So if any of you are freelancers or you wear all the hats in the business, you may be familiar with that cycle. And I just got really fed up with that cycle. I didn't like it as a model. So I changed and went to software. So this was about 5 years ago. And we went and built from scratch a church management tool. So I knew a bit about it. If any of you are familiar or volunteer at church, you may have used My Hillsong. We built like a Salesforce for churches specifically. And so, yeah, and that's what we've been building ever since. And so last 15 years of business, I'd say definitely challenged every part of me, and spiritual, physical, mental. I was questioning whether I could trust God and like what he says about me, especially if as a hugely insecure first-gen immigrant. I knew what I was supposed to say, like mentally, but like I didn't know if I truly believed it. Still remember Robert Ferguson giving me a prophecy at a frontline summer camp about that, or whether it was questioning whether it was really worth the price, like doing business like this. Was I like hearing God, or was I driven by my own agenda? I was like burnt out, working long hours, and didn't always translate to a wage or profit. Let's say it's more didn't. So it had really be questioning whether God had called me to this. So I often felt like I was spinning multiple plates, hoping they don't crash down. And it was like a daily struggle whether I should like open or close this business. So yeah, and so with all the challenges being huge and so it's insignificant points of no return, and it's been pivotal over the last few years. And I think what I learned, if I hadn't waited for God and God's timing in those key moments, I definitely wouldn't be here today. And I can say after all those years, God's been faithful. I now believe what he says about me and what he says is true. I think that's probably the most powerful part. And then I guess, yeah, after the 14 years of hard yakka, coming on the side, this year we sold the church software to a company in the States. I got married, as you mentioned, 5 months ago. And yeah, I've seen God answer 10-year prayers, set myself up, set my family up, things that I never thought were possible, like at midnight, 2 a.m. in the morning. And I can say that Business Connect has actually been a huge blessing, Dan. I think it's been actually critical during that whole time, because it's been a long time. It's not like that, 3 months, just fill in this card and your business is going to boom. I still remember the first Business Connect, Don Cooper Williams spoke. And then I met up with him afterwards and he gave me his card and he's like, yeah, call me anytime. And then I called him, had a coffee with him. He's like, actually, no one ever calls me. And he's become my mentor for the last 10 decade. And there's other key moments, having breakfast after like Martin Place Business Connect, where you just need that courage to like do the business battle that day. So if I could leave with this, I guess this last encouragement would be from my business journey so far, it's like, don't go it alone. Listen to the right voices, including mentors, Bible, really important, and find like Jesus loving friends. And I think this group is a great place to start. So that's a bit about my story.
Gee, love that, man. That's actually amazing. I can see people clapping there, and that's very so they should be here. That was so cool. That's kind of neat. When you, just out of curiosity, what year? You said 31 years ago. I know I could throw the maths on that. So sort of late, sort of very early 90s or late 80s, you were in City Campus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah,
1990. Cool. Wow. Yeah, we would have been there together, mate. I was
City Campus. Nice.
little tots.
I think I was like this big. So yeah.
Oh, really?
5. So, yeah.
5 or 6 or something. But yeah, very cool. And now you've actually been helping me try and just do some of the tech stuff around what we're doing here. Do you want to just maybe mention that, just in case there's any you know, from time to time, people do put their hands up to help. And I've got to admit, sometimes we're challenged to slot people into areas just to find, you don't want to waste their time. You also want to try and use their time well. But do you maybe just want to mention what you've been doing to give us a hand?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like coming full circle where I was helping with youth and United as doing whatever needs to be done. So I think it's sort of helping with like taking the Zoom recordings and getting them out to people that can't make it to the live call. And as well as we're starting some strategies to get more people on this call. I think it's if you're on the live call, there's nothing like it. So being able to interact and it's a mix of YouTube strategy, digital strategy. If you just want to learn, or you've got a creative eye and it can help with some design, consent. I think it's a businessconnect@hillsong.com, or hit us up in the chat and we can go from there.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, love it, and love you, mate. Appreciate you. Thanks for absolutely everything. Thanks for who you are, and thanks for what you do in our world and what you've done for a long time. Yeah, real deal. So thank you, and thanks again to Yechan, who shared a little bit earlier. I see a lot of encouragement coming through in the chat. Nat, who's up nice and early, Greater Springfield there. Greater Springfield representing. I see Liam, who I know is on holidays, out for a nice walk as well. So shout out to some of the Queenslanders that have jumped on nice and early. Always appreciate it. And I agree, Raj. A lot of people do catch up on YouTube. You know, some people just practically can't make it. And you know, I often get a few texts throughout the day of people listening when I give them a shout out. So shout out to anyone listening. I know Chris and Beck up north there often listening, and others. So hi to all you guys. But all right, I've asked a couple of people to I guess share for, you know, off the back of what we've just heard this morning. I got someone down in Melbourne who I've got to know through this medium actually, and then someone in Sydney who I'd say I have got to connect with more because of this medium, which has just been a really awesome blessing. But I might ask you, Sally, just because I saw you you're literally the center square on my screen here. So that was no strategy behind this. I just saw you right in the middle. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get you to jump on and encourage us for a few moments and share some of your story as well. But do you want to say hello quickly so you pop up?
Yep. Hi, everyone.
Great to see you. Excuse me if you can hear my dog barking in the background. But yeah, I usually see your daughter most days of the week because we work in the same office. But it's been a while since I've seen Jess, and I'm looking forward to seeing her hopefully soon. But I see you every week on here, so great to have you. And I might just hand over to you and let you just take us where you want to take us for the next 10 minutes or so.
Okay, thank you. It's a real privilege to be here, and I'm very grateful. I know last time you got me to share, we just all started the incredible last year's COVID journey, and we were all in a deep, dark spot trying to work out how we were going to navigate our way through. And I have to say, this Connect has been my lifeline during COVID, right through. I mean, it really has been. It's just been lovely, as Raj said, to have a team of people who are navigating the same difficult, dark space in a difficult time. And so, yeah, I have shared. Most people know my work in the church through my ministry or my charity / social enterprise business, which is the Freedom Hub and all that encompasses in that. And I thought I'd just very briefly touch on that, but I really wanted to talk about my journey to getting there. I was going to say, similar to Raj, I was going to say 40 years for an overnight express. He beat me to it with 10. But I really did want to share a little bit of the journey, because people see the last 5 to 7 years and go, oh my gosh, but it's been 40 years of God really changing my life dramatically to get to this point. But briefly, for those that don't know the Freedom Hub, I started that in 2000. Well, I wrote the mission in 2013, and then the mission is to end modern day slavery in Australia, because it should not happen here. And we do that through raising awareness and advocacy in most states now, to help the victims of that crime recover. And we have a survivor school with about 76 survivors in it right now, and partner in the fight to end global slavery, because you can't do that alone. So that's really been what the Freedom Hub's mission and vision has all been about. And we fund ourselves, or pre-COVID, we were 60% self-funded through business, through cafes and hospitality and events. But of course, COVID killed that revenue stream, and it's been a major challenge trying to crawl our way back out of that. But I really I felt this morning that it's really important for me to share the backstory and the amount of lessons I've had to learn to build a business when I've never built business before, and to build a charity when I've never run charity before, to pick hospitality when I've never been in hospitality before. You never, ever feel comfortable. You are never, ever, ever in a position of strength on your own. And so it's been a very long journey. My first taste of retail or business was at the age of 14, working Thursday nights and Saturday mornings at the Myer Miss Shop at Carlingford Court. And it really gave me a taste of freedom, having my own money, and watching and learning from people in business in retail from a very young age. As soon as I finished my HSC, I threw myself straight into that world. Got a cadetship with Grace Brothers into the Broadway head office. The cadetship was a 2-year fast track to store management. My first job at 19, my first leadership role was 45 staff managing at Grace Brothers at Parramatta store. And I was doing all my business studies and marketing studies at TAFE at Meadowbank at night. So it was quite an early taste of what power, money, position and leadership could be, all in the wrong sense when it comes to Christianity. I climbed my way through the store system, through to the buying system, until I ended up being the national buyer for Myers. When Myers bought out Grace Brothers, moved to Melbourne, and national buyer for Myers, so corporate supply, directly responsible to supply to the board for the share prices of my part of the business, and was making millions for another company, basically. The corporate world really taught me a lot about my own values. I realised that I was having to sacrifice many of what I'd grown up in the Christian world, but I was not a Christian, religious parents. Bit by bit, it chiseled away at my own values because I was pulling the company line. If you've seen The Devil Wears Prada, I have always believed that that was filmed on my offices where I worked in Melbourne. We had every array, but I was, the Hathaway girl. I was the one that was bit by bit giving up friends, family, doing everything I could to pull the party line and do what the company wanted to make profit. And it was a very challenging and dark time of my life, to be honest. But to the world, it was successful. By 28, I'd reached as high as any woman in the retail industry in Australia. I had nowhere else to go. We had a property in Paddington, living in Paddington in Sydney, had a property in Melbourne, and Middle Park, Melbourne, and Paddington in Sydney, driving flash cars, friends, editors of Vogue magazine, and at every cosmetic launch or party that was where people were to be seen, we were. And my husband had a job in the Navy, still is in the Navy. Traveling the world was just easy for us. We had what the world would call a very successful life. But at 28, it's like, well, where do you go? It takes a certain type of woman to go to break. There was no women on boards then. There was no, there was just, I couldn't see where I was going to go. And I guess that was the beginning of me seeking God and really looking at my own heart and what I wanted to do. Like a lot of people, though, I went looking in the wrong place. I decided having children might fill that hole in my life, and really moved into the whole seeking God and having children. The church was, and discovering Jesus in that journey of having children. We've moved 36 times in 37 years of marriage. We are a nomadic family, but we are pioneers. And since that really around the age of 30, when I gave my life to Christ, and there's a whole massive story behind how that happened, of course, getting the old world out of me and bringing me into the kingdom. We fell into the Anglican Church in Sydney, put on our theological hats, did our Moore College theology training, and really, really sought God through theology and understanding him. And then was sort of rescued from that really by being posted over to the UK, discovering Alpha, doing Alpha, being spirit-filled, getting tongues, prophecy, and all that comes with. John Wimber had just been in the UK. We were out learning everything we could about the impact of the Holy Spirit. And from there on, we really became Alpha addicts. We came back to Australia and on the pioneering team for Alpha Australia. There were 6 of us that launched that here. I've spent 15 years with God just moving us, speaking around the country, teaching and training Alpha and how to run it. I was part of the 3 people that wrote Youth Alpha before the film that's out now. sent mission trips to Japan. We did mission trips to Japan, launching Youth Alpha there and in New Zealand. Did the annual Youth Alive trip of Queensland every year, the big bus tour with the Red Frogs people, and, you know, evangelizing throughout Queensland, and just had a really wild 15 years, just really leaning into God, learning so many lessons. The real preparation for the Freedom Hub, though, came when we got posted to Berlin in Germany. My husband was sent there as the defence attaché for Australia, and I had to suddenly suck it up, stop everything I was doing, and become the wife of a diplomat. You can probably imagine how well that goes down for a woman who likes to push all the glass ceilings and pioneer everything and do what I do. But I had to zip my mouth, couldn't even speak German anyway. So I was at cocktail parties with wine glasses in my hand, just smiling and trying very hard to learn what was being said at tables. But it was there that I really learnt to serve. It was there that God really took I'd had a season in the world where it was all about profit. Then I had a season where it was all about the fruit of the ministry and really growing God's kingdom. I was doing business, all my entrepreneurial stuff. I was running I ran a furniture store at one stage. I did a whole bridal business of my own at one stage for makeup and cosmetics, and there's all bits and stuff going on there in the business world. But it was really there that set us up for the Freedom Hub. I was involved, I started up a charity called I Will, International Women Impacting Local Lives, rallied all the diplomatic wives together for fundraisers, raised money to help rescuing trafficked girls out of Eastern Europe into the sex industry in Berlin. And I volunteered in this little needle exchange for 4 years, a dark world, a horrible, sleazy place where organised crime, all the different organised criminal gangs managed the different corners that the girls were on, and spent most mornings trying to clean them up from the beatings and the blood the night before. And a lot of stuff, I had to just let go of everything in me. Couldn't speak to anybody really, because I couldn't speak German, couldn't speak their languages from Bulgaria and Romania and places like that. I just had to serve. And it was 4 years of enormous frustration, but incredible training. We were very fortunate that Gary Clark sent Mark and Joyce Wilkinson over to Berlin, and we were planting the Berlin church. So it was great also to watch and learn how to build a Hillsong church from scratch, and the reason why the flyers need to be exactly like this on every chair, and the spacing of the chairs and the whole venue set up, and the building of teams and stuff like that. So I think it was very critical to the way all the lessons that I learnt in all those years of leadership and serving and speaking and training and building up the next generation and pioneering everywhere we've been in 36 years, 36 moves. You have to build community within a 2-year period because you're moving on again. You can't just wait till one day I'm settled down. It's never going to happen. So we've always had to learn to sow in really early, build teams really early, build community really early, and then really listen to God and his direction on what he wants us to do next. So the God lesson, my most difficult thing, when you said 10 minutes, I'm like, how do you wrap 40 years into that? The most difficult thing for me that I think was to try and work out what would be the one thing that really would be themed right through our life and our pioneering and building. And I really have to keep coming back to leave with you guys, John 15. I think John 15 is a chapter jam-packed, actually. You can spend a long time in there, but it is a chapter that really, I think, is laid out for us in what the kingdom's success is. And kingdom success throughout my life has been, or since we became Christians later in life, kingdom success is intimacy with God. And if I relied on my own strength, my own skills, and all the training that he put me through and didn't have complete intimacy with him, I would never, ever have produced the fruit that has come supernaturally, because it's not my skills, it's not my educations, I'm not academic, and I'm not clever. It's the intimacy with God. I think business success taught me profit. Christian success has taught me about fruit. And we can only develop that through our intimacy with God and his community, as we're learning here. And everywhere I've gone, that community has been my tribe, my people, but my intimacy with him has directed every decision that I've made, because it's about being attached to him as the vine. And while we learn a lot about being planted in church, you can be in church anywhere in the world now, you are still planted because he is the vine and he is the plant, the roots. So to me, being intimate with him drives the success of the fruit. That this is our new model for doing what I used to do in my corporate life. And I think another key would be to never allow our success or fruit for God that we're doing to crowd out our intimacy with God. The minute we start to do that, we then start to lose that direction and that attachment to the vine that we need to produce the fruit. So I guess leaving that chapter with you, I would love to unpack it, but I can't. But leaving that chapter with you to go away and think about, I would say stay intimate with God. And if that chapter will point out, despite the critics, despite the enemies, despite the persecution that we will receive, despite the trials and the dark times, we will bear fruit, we will succeed, and we will not grow weary.
Wow, that was incredible. Yeah, gee, I think Mary wrote on there, what an amazing, inspiring, action-packed life. And thank you. I feel bad squeezing you to so much in such a short time, but I just feel like you just dumped just gold on us, and there's just, yeah, thank you. That was incredible, Sally. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, wow. So all I can really say, I'm just speechless after that, but speechless and inspired, I would say. But I'm gonna hand over to one more person now who's going to bring us home for today, and it's Andrew Beveridge. Hi, Andrew. Great to have you joining us from Melbourne. Mate, I'm just going to hand straight to you, and the last 10 minutes or so, you can bring us home. And I know you've got something on your heart, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everyone. Wow, Sally, what an incredible thing to follow there. I'm kind of glad I'm not doing the testimony thing today, because I'd feel like my story is pretty simple and a bit boring compared to that. But I think there's probably a few themes in there that I'm going to build on today. I'd love you to put in a chat, so a bit of audience participation. Where do you come up with your best ideas? So where do you come up with your best ideas? What are you doing when those brainstorms come through? There's no embarrassing answers apart from Hayden's first one there in the shower. Showers. Okay, so we've got about 48 people with showers, camping, reading the Bible, away in a caravan. Well, Peter's in his happy place at the moment there, away in a caravan, talking with parents, walking, cycling, running. So a bunch of things, right? And what I've found with just reflecting on Sally's story there, that stage, that corporate stage, that busyness, I think lots of us could relate to that. I worked in management consulting for a good number of years. I was just reflecting that for the birth of our third, we've got 3 boys, we're based in Melbourne City campus. For the birth of our third son, I took the day of the birth off, and I was back in the office the next day. And probably the saddest thing was no one commented on that. That wasn't unusual or a bad thing to do. And now my wife's a school nurse, so I'm definitely doing a bit of lifting on the homeschooling and everything else at the moment down here in semi-lockdown Melbourne, or very lockdown Melbourne. I'm going to share just a couple of themes with you today around this idea of rest and recovery and building that in. And I think as people were sharing some of the things, we'll come back to those ideas of where do you come up with your best ideas. But we can often get caught up in this world of action result. I was reflecting with some others last night. We had the 11:30 service crew together, and we're talking about COVID and just that experience of 2020. And my experience was, 2021's coming, so fantastic. I'll just put everything on autopilot, and then we'll kind of reboot things in 2021. And 2021's felt pretty similar, to be honest. And I think we're sitting here in October with 3 months of the year to go. It's very easy to get caught up in this world of action result, just either putting things on autopilot or just running absolutely flat out with the things that we're doing. So if we live in that world, let's say, for example, you've got a project that's running behind time. We're living in that world of action result. Really, the only thing you can do to improve things is to work harder, right? It's actually just to put in more hours, throw more resources at it. And you're a clever group of people, you know what's coming next. What we obviously need to do is, instead of doing that, we need to step back, do some planning. You know, think about how can we do this more efficiently? What's the most productive way we can do that? And that's quite a bit better. That gets us to that classic kind of working smarter thing. And that's where 99% of the time we stop. So we can make things more efficient. And this is absolutely true in Christian ministry. It's true in business. It's true in our personal lives, where we can absolutely efficiently and in a really refined way be doing exactly the wrong things. So we can efficiently be delivering the wrong results. And I feel really challenged, I think, to share with you today in the last few minutes that we've got, that in this run up till the end of the year, let's not get stuck in this world of either just working harder and smarter. Let's actually step back and spend some time reflecting, to actually spend some time thinking, what is the right work? You know, is this the right work that we're actually focusing on? I think about in Sally's story there, I imagine there's that moment where she's working very successful in retail, in buying. It's a very busy area. I've worked with some buyers before. They're very smart people who work very, very hard. She could have worked in that forever, but that moment of actually going, is this the right work? Am I actually doing the right things? There's some classic research. I'm a psychologist, so I love science. I love behavioral science. I firmly believe that science gives us an insight into how God has created us and how we should function. If you look back in the history of science, the first scientists were very religious people, and they saw it as an opportunity to understand God better. I'm not saying that science replaces everything else, but it adds to that understanding of who God is and the wonder of that. This classic curve, you can draw the curve on this axis for me between stress and performance. You know what it looks like. It looks like this, right? So this is Yerkes and Dodson right back in 1908. They were electrifying some poor rats in a maze, and they found out that if you gave them a little shock, they would solve that maze really quickly. If you gave them a big shock, they would just try to get out of there. They would run all over the place. They wouldn't do anything efficiently. And this got extended out to a whole lot of areas, to the point where many people just accept this as truth, that as stress levels increase, performance gets better, that there's this optimal point at the top, right? Where we're really nailing it. We're delivering everything we need to deliver. We're efficient. Everything's fantastic. And that's the goal. But if you think back to where you come up with your best ideas, it's not at your desk. No one ever puts at your desk. No one actually ever puts at the top of that curve. The point that they share instead is this point. In fact, we need to rethink what performance is. If performance is about efficiently delivering what we're doing today, absolutely, the top of the curve is the way to go. But if it's actually about coming up with new ideas, new approaches, we actually need to get to that point of low stress. We actually need those moments of recovery, and we need those moments of reflection as well. And in fact, what the science would show us is we need to work up and down this curve to live a full human life. And I think to serve God in the way that we're created and intended, we need moments of high stress, but we need to match those with moments of absolute high recovery, of switching off. I don't know how you found this COVID season for us in Victoria, and I think for people in New South Wales as well. What I've noticed is people have stopped taking holidays. So they're just going, well, what's the point of taking a holiday? I can't go anywhere. And so they haven't taken those breaks. And the problem with that is that we're actually not recovering. So just a couple of quick reflections as I'm thinking about that. Recovery isn't sitting and collapsing in front of Netflix. In the same way that you have a daily quiet time and you focus that time, and it's something you build into your schedule. Just a few key thoughts that I would put in there. You need to schedule time to reflect. There's never a moment where you go, oh man, I really need to spend 30 minutes reflecting. If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. So I'd encourage you, put some time at the end of your week, start of your day, whatever it is, actually intentionally put some time in there to reflect, and reflect in a human sense, but also reflect in a spiritual sense as well on what God might be telling you. This second question of what is the right work? A great piece of advice I had was ask God questions. Ask God questions. So rather than saying, God, what should I do? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. A better question can be, God, should I do this? You know, is this the right thing for me? And it's amazing how often the guidance from that will be really clear. The door will open or close. So be really clear in the questions that you ask of God. And the third thing I would say is oscillate. You know, oscillate between stress and recovery. Stress doesn't kill you. I know as psychologists, we were telling you that for about 30 years, but it's chronic stress that gets you. And it's a lack of recovery that gets you. We actually need stress. We need to use that, but we need those moments of recovery as well. So just some simple things to reflect on. If you haven't taken annual leave this year, what are you doing? Take a week off. Get like Pete Lowe, go out to a farm somewhere in a caravan if it comes to that. Take a break. You need a break. And even if that break is still at your home with your regular life going on, that's okay. Your business will survive. Your business will survive without you for a week. It's all right, trust me. But make sure you take those breaks as well. So look, hopefully there's some things in there that were helpful. Just a real quick cook's tour around a couple of psychological principles. But the key thing I would say is this absolutely applies in our Christian walk. We've got to rethink how we do things. As we're going back into church and getting people back in a building, everything's going to change. And we need to think about how do we connect people in quickly? How do we deliver what people need? So thanks for the opportunity, Dan. I'll pass back to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Gee, that was brilliant. You managed to just deliver so much, so concisely, and just laid out really easy for us to grasp. So thank you. Wow, action-packed morning, guys. Really, thank you to everyone that contributed this morning. I really appreciate it. I might ask Andrew Denton if you wouldn't mind praying for us all and praying for the guys that shared this morning. And yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Father, we thank you for the brilliant people that we have here on Business Connect, Father, and so much wisdom and insight and experience, Lord, they have to share. And Lord, we just pray that you'll be with all of us today. Bless us. May we be the head and not the tail, Father. May we see opportunity and blessing. We thank you for it now. Keep us safe as we go. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone else. Much love. Remember, if there's anything we can do to help you, serve you, come alongside you, reach out. We're definitely here for all of you. Appreciate you being part of this morning and look forward to seeing you online, and we'll see you back here next week. Much love, guys. See ya.
Yeah, it was a fantastic morning. Very, very good. Lots of differences there. Sally, 36 moves in 37 years. That's ridiculous. I've had 2 in 32 years.
Yeah, it's been a crazy wildlife.
Sally,
wow. You'd be really good at packing house.
That was like watching a movie. You telling your life this morning, Sally. It was incredible.
I wasn't sure how I was going to do that in 40 minutes. You can imagine there's big stories with every single stage. So it's trying to, yeah, that's why I had to try and pick one theme. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you this much. We'll be hearing from you again. Don't worry.
Yeah. And that was really great, Andrew. I tell you, everyone needs to actually have a rest. I know that. It is weird, isn't it? We all haven't had a holiday. Because how do you have a holiday when you're at home, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I just took 2 weeks off, and it's been and I had to force myself because it felt like a waste. But it's been fantastic. Yeah.
No, great stuff. Brilliant stuff.
See you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Have a great week.
Thanks again, Sally. Thanks again, Andrew.
Thank you, guys.
Bless you guys.
Thank you.
Well done.